story class this morning. So I'll thank you, all of you, for participating and your eagerness to hear about Shrimad Bhagvatam. Thank you very much. I will start with invocation prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Nastaprayesu abhadresu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki gurave gaurachandraya Sri Radhikaya tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna bhaktaya tadabhaktaya namo namaha. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna everybody, and thank you for joining this class. Yesterday we discussed about making human life perfect, and the conclusion we found that by performing devotional service to the Supreme Lord, one can make human life perfect. So there are so many ways of performing devotional service to Lord. You can see on the screen some processes are given here. Sankirtan Yagna, then doing the deity worship like Arti, performing Arti to the Radha Krishna Vigraha. Also family getting together and do the chanting, and also the individual chanting that person is doing in the middle of the picture. And then also on your right is a picture which shows the big Jagannath with big eyes. You can see that. Jagannath, Baldev and Subhadra. So some of you may have heard it in India, in Orissa state. There is a place called Jagannath Puri, one of these pilgrimage place for Hindus. And Jagannath, Baldev and Subhadra resides there eternally, but the yearly they have a Rath Yatra. So they take out the Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra and go around, on the street, so everybody can see. So similarly, Srila Prabhupada also made a arrangement, when he established his ISKCON society here, he also established this Rath Yatra. It's like an annual function where whichever ISKCON temple have this deity, Jagannath, Baldev and Subhadra, they have a Rath Yatra program annually. And the reason for that is also that not that everybody will go to temple, but then on that day, everybody can see Lord Jagannath. And as well, also Jagannath can see everybody also outside. So this is having this, taking part in festivals like that is also a kind of a devotional service to Supreme Lord. And you can see the one person is doing service like brooming the street, sort of cleaning the path. So like various kinds of devotional service that one can do. So today we will talk about how this devotional service or the bhakti can be increased in our life once we have it. Okay. So let's see how we get it. First, we get a seed of devotion. Seed means, for example, you're getting a seed for a plant. If you want to uh, sort of uh, grow a plant or a tree, then you take seed and sow it in a ground, right? So that example is given. So we get a seed of devotion. Uh, how they get a seed of devotion? So that is described here also in the Shrimad Bhagvatam, that living entities, that means we all are classified as living entities, all jivas, all souls, living entities wandering through different species, different bodies. That also I have discussed yesterday, 6 types of bodies. So we go through all this cycle through different bodies till one makes his human life perfect, as we discussed yesterday. Then at an opportune moment, we get an association of a pure devotee of Krishna. Then by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, we get that seed of devotion. Now, let's say how we can fructify that seed of devotion. For example, the example is given for a plant seed or a tree seed, right? What they do normally, when we saw the seed of a plant or a tree, we water them and give them sunshine, right? So normally we can see we water the plant as well as we also give the sunshine to the plant. Okay, so similarly, same way, our seed of devotion which is in our heart, how that can be fructified, or how that seed can be more grown, so that way we can realize the God, uh, and we can have a darshan of God like that. So it will fructify. So similarly, the seed of devotion can be also fructified by similar process. That means watering the plant is compared to the chanting of the God's name. As we see that in the previous slide, the person was chanting. So the chanting is one process of which is compared to watering of the plant, and then the sunshine that we give to the plant is compared to the association for a sadhu, association of a sadhu or saintly personality, or those who are Krishna conscious. So with these two processes, we can fructify our seed of devotion. And finally, we will develop love of God. So this is basically a process that how once you get a chance to associate with someone and sort of get a bhakti or kind of a seed of bhakti from him, then if we can also practice like he's practicing, chanting, taking association. Now association can be taken so many ways: book Bhagavad, person Bhagavad, also devotee Prabhupada, so many books, so many Vaishnavas. Through their association, we also learn this process of bhakti. That is, the bhakti is like Navada, like 9 uh, limbs of bhakti is defined like that: hearing, chanting, remembering, praying, all these kind of things, surrendering, acting as a friend, so all this considered to be the different processes of bhakti that we can perform. Even if you take one of them, we can make perfect our lives. For example, in the Ramayana, you may have heard about Sabri, uh, how she developed, serving the sadhus, Matang Rusi, her spiritual master, and other Rusis, she developed so much bhakti. So when Matang Rusi left this body from this material. And before that, she told Sabri that you wait here and the Lord will come to you, because he was pleased with Sabri's bhakti. Sabri was serving them, cleaning their ashram, bringing water for them. So many ways Sabri used to serve them, which you may have heard from the Ramayana, if you have heard the Ramayana. There are so many devotees you will find that they have served the personalities, you know. So that way you can develop your bhakti more and more, and you can see finally Lord, while in search of Sita, Ram and Lakshman came to the Sabri's cottage, you know, and they gave her darshan. So this is the uh, miracle of performing bhakti and achieving the goal of our life, you know. Uh, but there are some other powerful methods by which we can make progress in our devotion also. So I will see there are three of you will discuss some of them, but I will describe them first. By serving the servant of God is also a way how to make progress in our devotion service. By serving the servant of a God. One who is a servant of the God, and if we serve them, that is also best method. Second one is by developing desire to hear about the pastime of Krishna, you know, that will also clean our desire for material enjoyment when we hear uh, the pastime of Krishna. And then there is also another process called hearing Shrimad Bhagvatam class regularly and rendering service to the pure devotional devotees of Krishna. So maybe out of these three, we'll discuss two today, and the other maybe we can discuss tomorrow and we'll complete that thing. So as far as by serving the servant of God is concerned, the servant of God actually come to preach God consciousness. You know, as you can see that all Prabhupada came here to preach Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Dharma basically, and he came to USA. So we'll talk about that a little bit, but the servant of God come to preach God consciousness, and the intelligent people will cooperate with them in every respect. Now, by serving servant of the Lord, one can please God more than by directly serving the Lord, which is very nice point to remember, you know. Lord says himself in Bhagavad Gita, what he says, that because when he sees, when Krishna sees that we serve properly and respect, such servants take risk everything for the service of the Lord. And so they are very dear to Lord. So therefore, Lord says in Bhagavad Gita that no one is dearer to him than one who risks everything to preach his glories. So here we can see the example of Srila Prabhupada. He took so much trouble and risk to preach Krishna consciousness or to bring the Bhagavad Dharma from India to here in Western countries. So in the beginning, he had a hard time. He wanted to come to USA, but you know, he has no money, and he was requesting the owner of a Sindhya ship, uh, that the Jaladuta, that he uh, came uh, riding into that Jaladuta boat or steamer, you can say. So, but we can see from his life sketch, Srila Prabhupada, that how many risk or suffering he has to go through, because he was trying to convince the owner of that Sindhya ship, you know, that please help me to go to America. And she was telling Prabhupada that you are so old, because Prabhupada at that time was 70 years old. So 70 years, and coming from India to here, and he has no acquaintances, he has no money, you know. So he was requesting free passage from the owner of this that ship company. So finally, after so many attempt that he made, she arranged for him to come to America. And here is the picture that he's preparing to board this ship, and then he came to USA. First of all, he came to Boston, and actually, in the beginning of thing, you can see that his story is like when he came to Boston Harbor. He doesn't know anybody, you know, and he doesn't know whether to go left or right. He doesn't have enough money either. The only thing, one acquaintance that he met someone in Mathura or somewhere, and his son was in Pennsylvania somewhere. So he only gave that contact. So when he get down from Boston, then he came to New York, and from that place he goes to Butler, Pennsylvania. And I mean, that the only acquaintance is, and that is not even that direct contact, it's just through his father's contact he came there. But he stayed there for a few days, but then finally his mission, he has to take risk, and he has to preach the Krishna conscious, uh, give the Bhagavad Dharma to this American culture people. So he came to New York, and then he rented a place, and one day he was chanting in Tompkins Park under the tree, and it so happened that on that day there are so many American boys and girls came, and they also participated. So from there it is like, he started this movement. But even then, Prabhupada has taken a lot of risk, and being he was compassionate, he was actually in the beginning serving all these people, because they don't know our culture. They somehow or other attracted by Prabhupada, and they were coming to see Prabhupada, to hear Prabhupada, but Prabhupada was cooking for them. And Prabhupada was, cleaning the utensils and everything after they go. It's like, so much risk and trouble that Prabhupada has taken to preach this Bhagavad Dharma. You can see it here, And you can see in this picture, this slide, some of the preaching activities of Srila Prabhupada. So by serving the servant of the Lord, one gradually gets the quality of such servants, and thus one becomes qualified to hear the glories of the Lord, which is the first qualification of a devotee eligible for entering the kingdom of God, actually. So you can see that when Prabhupada came here, some of the Americans, boys and girls, they approach him, and they were trying to learn from him something. So that was their eagerness also to hear from Prabhupada and all this kind of thing. So that way they were learning something, by the association of Srila Prabhupada. Now, the next question may be, how to develop a taste for hearing. Okay, so that is also, one can develop a taste of hearing by visiting places of pilgrimage and serving the Mahatmas residing there. Now, you may have heard of, I don't know whether you have gone to India or not, some of you may have gone to India. There are so many pilgrimage places in India, north, south, east, west. Actually, there is Dwarka Dham, there is Jagannath Puri, there is Rameshwar, there is Badrinath. Apart from that, there are so many. These are like 4 main places in each direction, north, south, east, west. But besides that, also there are so many religious places, and now there are so many ISKCON temples there in major cities like Bombay, Delhi, Kanpur, Ujjain. There is temple there. In South India, there are some temples. South India, there are so many temples actually. There are so many ISKCON temples also. And so those are the pilgrimage places. But what is our intent to go to pilgrimage places? Not just to go to, say, Hardwar is one of the pilgrimage places also. So not just go to, because Hardwar is located on the bank of Ganges River, which is believed to be very sacred river because it came out from the lotus feet of Vishnu. So people go there, take bath, get purified like that. But that is not the only purpose that you go to a holy dham or pilgrimage places. Your main intent is there to find a sadhu there and learn from him, hear from him. So that is mentioned here, that serving the Mahatma residing there, So this process will gradually purify, and evoke the spiritual desire that we have. And once you develop spiritual desire, your material desire will be minimized, sort of. So by going to the holy places frequently, meeting the devotee there, taking their association, experiencing their potencies, that will awaken our desire to gain knowledge about the Supreme Lord by hearing Krishna Katha from them. So normally those are the Mahatmas who know the pastime of Lord Krishna. They are self-realized. They can see, they have a better vision, In other words, they can see past, future, like that also, because they have learned the scripture properly, and they can guide you how to lead our spiritual life. So then devotees may also associate uh, with some Vaishnavas or exalted devotees, like Prabhupada is not here on this planet, but we have his books. So his books association is also good. Reading books of a exalted Vaishnavas, like Srila Prabhupada, Mahatma, that also we can have an association with his pure devotees that we find here. That is also another way of getting association, because pilgrimage is sometimes, for everybody it is not possible also, or not practical also, to go to visit different places of pilgrimages. So for practical purpose, we can say pure devotees of Krishna, they are considered like moving holy dham. They are like moving pilgrimages. So when we happen to meet them, that means like we are associating, or we are going to pilgrimage like this. So, and one example is given from the Shastra. According, for example, the Vidur. So here is also people are meeting sadhu, taking association like that. And here is Yudhishthir, Vidura. There is a story in Mahabharata. Those who have seen the Mahabharata serial, they might know. But before the war, Duryodhan insulted Vidura. Vidura is the younger brother of Dhritarashtra and Pandu. So there was a quarrel between Kaurava and Pandavas. Dhritarashtra's son was known as Kauravas, and Pandu's son was known as Pandavas. So, the story is long, but I will just briefly describe the past event. Like the Kaurava side, Duryodhan, when they became a prince, so they wanted to rule the kingdom, and because the actual inheritance was Yudhishthir Maharaj. He was the elder son of Pandu. So after Pandu died, he should he should be put on throne. But instead of, Duryodhan was cunning, and he wanted to take that kingdom. So finally, there's so many things that happen, but finally war is decided. That Duryodhan said that I will not give even a piece of land which is enough to pierce, by a needle. That much land I'm not ready to give without fight. So, I mean, so many previous events are there, but that was the decision that, yeah, now they will on the file. So one time what happened is that uh, Lord, in that assembly of Pandavas, Krishna and Balram was also there, and they were talking about that at least we should try once and go to the Hastinapur and meet King Dhritarashtra and request him like a sandhi, peace sort of a. So Krishna went there, and then he requested only 5 villages, from them, but they are not ready to give. Not only that, Duryodhana also insulted Krishna there. So, and afterwards, he happened to also, because Vidura was giving a right advice to Dhritarashtra that this Duryodhana is going to be a troublemaker. So if you do not take any action, then it will be a problem like that. He had many times advised Dhritarashtra, but that didn't work out. So finally, Vidura, when insulted by Duryodhana, he left his bow and arrow there, and then he went to pilgrimages. And when he came back from pilgrimages, Yudhishthira is speaking to Vidura, and glorifying and telling that, you know, uh, my dear uncle, because Yudhishthir was nephew. So he's telling Vidura, my dear uncle, devotees like your good self are verily holy places personified. And why it is so? Because you carry the personality of Godhead within your heart. You turn all places into place of pilgrimage. So that is the glory of the people who visited pilgrimages dham. They carry that dham in their heart. So that's why they are glorious and they are praiseworthy. So a pure devotee like Vidura always feels the presence of God everywhere. Therefore, if anyone visits a holy place, he must search out the pure devotee residing in such holy places, take lessons from them, try to apply such instructions in practical life, and thus gradually prepare oneself for going back to Godhead. So that should be the objective, you know. And then the next point that I mentioned about developing desire to hear, that is also very nice. This hearing process is very, very important. Especially Lord Chaitanya gave great stress to hearing because of the common man simply hears from authoritative sources, he can make progress. Therefore, it is suggested that all men should take advantage of hearing from a realized soul and gradually become able to understand everything regarding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should learn to become the servant of those who are in knowledge of the Supreme Lord. If one is fortunate enough to take shelter of a pure devotee, okay, hear from him about self-realization and follow in his footsteps, one will be gradually elevated to the position of pure devotee. So this is the process of increasing bhakti in our life after once we get the seed of devotion. Uh, Thus, faithful hearing from an authoritative person will help one transcend this material existence and go back to material existence. Why? Because there are three qualities: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So as long as we get affected with that thing, we will not be able to proceed further in our bhakti. But by this hearing process, we can go over this, means we can bypass the effect of these modes of material nature that bothers us, or that become a probably hurdle for our progress. Now, how Krishna helped those who eager to hear Krishna Katha is also explained that the Lord reciprocates his devotees equally. In Bhagavad Gita, he also says that as all surrender unto me, I I reciprocate with them equally. No? So when the Lord sees that devotee is completely sincere in getting admittance to the transcendental service of the Lord and has thus become eager to hear about him, then the Lord acts from within the devotee, means he is within our heart as a super soul feature. So he helps us out in that way. So in such a way that the devotee may easily go back to Godhead. And the Lord is more anxious to take us back into his kingdom than we can desire. Just like, give you example, for example, a father, is very eager to get back his lost son. Suppose the father and son goes to some kind of a festival where there are so many people are there, and somehow his son get lost, and but he's equally eager to receive him, as soon as he get him like that. So in a similar way, Lord is also equally eager, to get back to his dham, which is our original place, we need to go. So why so? Because Krishna is our dearmost friend, well-wisher, and benefactor. He removes all inauspiciousness from our heart. And when we become eager to hear about him, he helps in this way, and he removes our sins that we have accumulated. He purifies us. Uh, so that is the benefit of hearing. Okay, so I will stop here and take any questions or comments that you may have. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for wonderful class. I request all the participants, please unmute, raise your hand. So I will take one by one to ask question with Prabhuji. So the first one is Ananya. Ananya, please unmute yourself and ask question. Ananya.
Okay. So my question was that did you just start and did and Vidura start talking before or after the war? I didn't hear.
Yeah, he's talking to him after the war.
Oh, okay. So that was my question.
Yeah.
Thanks, Babaji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, because during the war, he was in pilgrimages. But then war was over, then Vidura came and everything was settled. So Yudhishthir was a king at that time. So Vidura came back, and at that time, Yudhishthir glorified Vidura, his uncle, because actually he came there to deliver the Dhritarashtra, his brother, because, I mean, all the Kauravas, his sons were died, but the Dhritarashtra was there. So another purpose, we will learn that when we go further in our Shrimad Bhagvatam chapters, when we move ahead, but we will learn more about this pastime, okay? But his main aim was to came there to deliver the Dhritarashtra.
Okay, thanks, Babaji.
But when he came, Yudhishthir welcomed him in the beginning and then glorified him because he visited so many pilgrimage places, And he said that, oh, you are carrying pilgrimage in your heart. So glorious, like that. Okay, next.
It's a Kalyani Pandya. Please unmute yourself.
So you mentioned that about purifying your soul. How do you what's a way to purify your soul?
The way to purify, the best way in this Kali Yuga is chanting the holy name. And especially the mantra that we chant is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That is also suggested by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Siksastakam, Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhamaha Davagni Nirvapanam. He says Cheto Darpana means, we have to clean, just like you cannot see in the dirty mirror your image. Similarly, in your dirty heart, we will not be able to realize. So to clean that, we have to chant the holy name of the Lord. Okay?
Thank you, Prabhuji. The next one is Gayatri. Gayatri, please unmute yourself. Do you have any question, Gayatri?
Why did Vidura want to rule the kingdom?
Why Vidura? What?
Want to rule the kingdom?
Vidura doesn't want to rule the kingdom. It's the war is between Duryodhan and Yudhishthir, or Kaurava and Pandava. On Kaurava side, Duryodhan wanted to rule the kingdom, but the legitimate heir was Yudhishthir. You got it? Hare Krishna. Did you understand it?
Gayatri, did you understand it? Okay, Prabhuji, we can take another question.
Okay.
Amla and Aditi, please unmute yourself.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I can't see you.
You cannot what?
I cannot see you.
Oh.
The background is gray.
Oh, you don't see me? Okay. Okay, let me get rid of this thing here then. Oh.
Prabhu, it's okay.
I have to get out from the slideshow.
Prabhuji, should we take first question and answer? Is that possible? Because class is going over.
Do you have any question?
Yes, Prabhu.
I don't have any question, but
It was minimized, that's why. Okay, let me see.
I don't see you.
The next one is C's iPad. C's iPad.
So, how was Krishna born?
Krishna was born in the prison house of Kamsa. Krishna doesn't take birth like we do. He appeared himself in front of Devaki and Vasudev, his parents, first of all in four-handed form. And then on the request of his mother Devaki, he turned into two-form baby. He came for Leela. Lord Krishna's birth and activity, they are transcendental. Divya, Janma Karma Chame Divyam. Says in Bhagavad Gita that Lord does not take birth like we do. Okay. The process is explained in the Krishna book as well as in Shrimad Bhagvatam that first of all, Krishna appeared in his father's Vasudev's heart. From Vasudev's heart, it was transferred to Devaki's heart, and from Devaki's heart to Devaki's womb, and then he appeared before them. That is kind of a process which is kind of very difficult to understand for our mundane vision, because we think about that baby coming out from the womb of the mother. But here, instead, he just appeared, because Lord can appear anywhere, anytime.
Thank you, Guruji. The next one is Suraj. Suraj, please unmute yourself.
Mataji, so like, how did Vidura kill Dhritarashtra?
No, Vidura did not kill Dhritarashtra. Vidura delivered, what I mean is that because after his 100 sons died, he still was living. with Yudhishthira in that palace, So Vidur came to warn him that now for you to go to forest and take Vanprastha ashram, and you have to make progress in your spiritual life. Don't stay in the palace, like that. So deliver means he wanted to liberate from this material world. Means he wanted to give him spiritual knowledge. That's why
Oh,
he
I
came.
thought deliver meant kill them, because in some Krishna pastimes my mom said he delivered Putana, Kali and whoever.
Oh, I see. Okay. I got your point. So yeah, the different word. Deliver, yeah, in sense, to actually in this case, the right word is you can say to give a instruction so Dhritarashtra can make progress in his spiritual life rather than living their mundane life,
Okay, I understand, Prabhuji.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. The next one is Arundhati. Arundhati, please ask your question.
I was actually born like his parents were in like a cage because of because of his uncle, and he was born with like Guruji said.
What was that? So what is the question?
Just his parents were like born from he was born in like a cage. Like his
Yeah,
parents were like in a
prison cell.
cage.
Okay.
Like in a
Prison
cage.
cell. Cave. Not a cave, it was a prison house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Devaki and Vasudev, Kamsa put them in a jail because he got a sky voice that the 8th child of Devaki will kill you. So that's why they have imprisoned them. So whenever the Vasudev promised him, to save Devaki, Vasudev promised him that, I will deliver all the child to you, So that is the reason they were in jail, in prison house. Okay. Who is next?
Mayank,
Gopal.
Mayank and Daksha, please unmute yourself. Mayank and Daksha,
Yes,
do you have any question?
yes.
Okay, please ask.
Actually, my first one was how many places did Prabhudeva did preaching of Krishna?
What is it? Can you repeat it?
Okay, how many places did Prabhudeva did preaching of Krishna?
Prabhupada, how many places
Yes.
preach Krishna? Oh, during his time, in about 12 years, okay, he moved around the whole world like 14 times, and he established 108 temples and so many farm communities, So I think in America, the first temple was, he started in New York with a small center, but the first temple was in Los Angeles. And there are so many other places now, temples are there. And in India, Vrindavan, Mayapur.
Okay.
Thank you. The next one.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I have a question too.
Okay.
How did Prabhudeva get out of the prison?
It was Krishna.
I mean Krishna, when they were in prison.
Oh, how he came. Okay. So here is the story. We will learn more about it when we go to that chapter. But I'll tell you the brief story. When he appeared four-handed form, then Devaki requested him that you promise us to come as our child, but now you are four-handed. How can we give you our, motherly love to you? So that means he has turned into two handed form. And then he said that because you are so afraid of Kamsa, please take me to Nandagaon. So Vasudev, as soon as he took Krishna in his hand, his shackles were removing, the gates open, and everything made by the arrangement of the Yogamaya. Everything is happened so that he escaped out of the jail, because of Krishna is like God, right? So he can do anything. So, and then Vasudev delivered, or he gave this Krishna child to Nanda Baba in Gokul, where Nanda Baba and Yasoda was living there. So he was brought up in Gokul by Yasoda and Nanda Baba.
Okay,
So
thank you.
Vasudev took him there, and then he came back.
And they both stayed in the prison again?
No, the another story is that when Vasudev came back, Asoda has given a birth to a baby girl. So he brought that thing, and then the news here spread that, that Devaki has a child. So Kans came, and it was not a boy, it was a girl, but it was like a Maya, it's like a Durga, Ambika, So when Kamsa tried to kill her, she escaped from his hand and in the air, and she showed like Ashtabhuja, like you have seen the Durga, uh, eight-handed form of Devi, like, So then Kausa Tarot, she is my, worshipable deity, So like that. And then she realized that, and she also announced that, well, the someone who's gonna kill you has taken birth somewhere else, She just gave some hint. So that means now what happened, that Kans concluded that Devaki and Vasudev is not at fault. So now Kans released them from the jail at that point. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Should we take one more question or we have to
Yeah.
stop here?
Just one more.
Okay. Akshar, please unmute yourself. Akshar.
Okay. Why was Krishna born to Vasudeva? Like, why wasn't he born to anybody else?
Another what?
Why was Krishna born to Vasudeva?
And Devaki. Okay, that is also a story that what Krishna told their father and mother, that Krishna and Vasudev and Devaki was a different personality in their previous life. Okay, and they were doing austerity to get Krishna as their son.
Oh.
Yeah, they were doing so much austerity to get Krishna as their son. Well, when they please, they say, we need a son like you. So the Krishna said, there's nobody like me. So he has to come there. So that's why he became the son of Krishna. Okay?
Yeah.
All
And
right.
another thing is I can't see your video. It's like gray. Like your video is gray.
Video of what?
Yeah, like your video. Like I can see your screen, but I can't see your face.
Okay, so I don't know what it is hiding.
Akshar, today is little problem for the video of Prabhuji.
Yeah, we'll sort it out. Are you coming in Sanskrit class? 2 o'clock? No, okay. So tomorrow come little early and you will see me, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, join about 10 minutes early.
Okay.
Okay, and those who have questions, please hold on to that till tomorrow. We'll open up this thing 10-15 minutes earlier so you can ask your questions, okay? Thank you very much for listening. Hare Krishna.